the 29-year-old mother who pled guilty to running over her 6-year-old son. And this is her interrogation.
All right. So I have to Mirandize you just like I told you yesterday, okay? Warning, I am a police officer. Warning, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to consult with a lawyer before and during any questioning and have a lawyer present while you're being questioned. That if you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you free before any questioning, and you can stop talking to me or any other police officer at any time during questioning. You understand what I just read you? Look the card over.
Yeah, this is like the, what, third time?
Third time.
Something.
This is the note I got from you today. It's 6:31 p.m.
Did you get to a reminder about the meds? And
I did,
okay.
And the nurse had called the doctor, and he said he didn't prescribe you anything. You're not on any prescriptions. So she's not going to give you the meds. I talked to her this morning. That's what she told me.
You talked to Dr. Green?
Yeah. She called down there and talked to the right doctor.
I think she has the wrong place or something.
Where do you go to the doctor?
Primary Health Solutions, and the only one I see there is Dr. Green.
That's who she said she called. Today's the 3rd. 3-3.
We don't know if these meds were a necessity for Brittany to have, or if she has a substance abuse issue and she's trying to get over the despicable acts she committed to her child.
What time is it?
6:31.
And it's what is today's, like?
The 3rd. 3/3/21.
Is it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
It's called the day of the week.
Wednesday. Had to think about that too.
I feel like I've been in there for whatever.
Alright. Do you just have something specific?
I heard him talking about earlier about somebody from Butler County was getting somebody. Will they let me know before they come in there and get me?
Probably
How does
not.
that?
That'll happen Friday after it gets, no. Might not happen on
They
Monday.
said that you have to go talk to a bunch of people first before I even get moved.
That's grand jury. That'll be Friday morning at 9 a.m.
Okay. So I probably won't be moving until probably next week.
Nope. Probably not till next week. Probably Monday. I would assume Monday.
Okay, I need a shower. Like, you can see, I'm breaking out everywhere.
I'll ask him. I'll go back there and talk to him as soon as I drop you back off. I got a question for you, though. Are you willing to talk to me about what happened?
Yeah.
First off, I need to know why you guys are down in Richmond, Indiana, at Walmart.
Richmond, Indiana?
Yeah. Or Richmond.
What?
I think it's Richmond, Indiana. It wasn't Richmond, Kentucky.
I didn't go to any Walmart.
You did not go to any Walmart?
No, that's why I'm looking at you like, what are you talking about?
Did he take the kids and go to Walmart?
He might have. I don't know.
Okay.
I've not
seen the video yet. He does
stuff when I'm sleeping. So how am I supposed to know anything?
Well, I mean, you're not sleeping 24/7.
My meds would let me. I'd be sleeping 24/7.
All right.
And as you can tell, you had to yell for me for a couple minutes to even get me.
I don't yell a long time. But I know what you're saying.
They've yelled for me a couple times to ask me if I was okay.
Right.
So I'm a deep sleeper.
Once you're out, you're out.
Yes.
Okay. I need to know one other thing, because I want to put James to rest properly.
Okay.
Okay. Is he really where you said you dumped him?
My son?
Yes.
Yes. That's where he dumped him.
Okay, but you were with him.
Yes.
Okay.
That is where
you guys went to do.
Yes.
That's legit.
And yes, he said to make sure we dumped him on that side because of the currency or something goes this way. I don't know nothing about the water.
Right. Okay.
And you said they won't be out there until what, Sunday again to look?
Yeah. Yeah. What was I going to tell you? We're going out tonight. in a few minutes. Actually, they're over there now doing it. I'm heading over there as soon as I put you away. We're going to check for blood on your car and underneath your car. When you run over somebody, that'll show up. It's called Blue Star Luminant. They use this light and all this other crap to look for it.
Basically, like, you turn out the lights and everything's, like, lit up blue or whatever.
After they've used a certain chemical.
I've seen it
That's what they're going to do.
on some of the lawnmowers.
Right.
And
Well, that's what we're going to go do tonight. We're waiting for dark, a little bit darker.
I was like, who in the world?
Yeah, we're only 2 here, so.
She seems to have thought John Wick himself was coming through the door to avenge his long-lost puppy.
I suspect once understand that a murder charge is a murder charge. Okay, meaning that it doesn't
Well, I
matter.
don't even know exactly what murder even means.
Considering her CSI reference, that's highly unlikely.
Okay, you killed somebody. That's what murder means. Okay, you killed your son. So
Caused the death of another.
And so it doesn't matter.
Even though it was an accidental,
I think it was, but you went there to dispose of your kid, to leave your kids out there is what you went to do, huh?
I
That's
went
a crime.
to go there to drop them off, not to harm them or anything.
Okay, but you're still abandoning your children, okay? So that's how the law reads there,
Okay.
as far as murder. So my question to you is, I suspect that we're gonna find on the tire and the undercarriage of the car some sort of blood matter is what I think. Blood evidence is what we're going to end up finding underneath.
Okay, and
So
if you
it doesn't
don't,
matter.
then what?
Well, either way. What I'm trying to get at is I still don't think you're being totally honest with me about how he died, to be quite frank with you. Okay? For some reason, you're minimizing the fact that you drug him, and you think that's better than running him over.
I did not run him over.
Or doing something else.
That's why I was telling you,
Did
I
something
could
else-
have dragged him. I
Okay.
didn't see that, but I didn't.
Well, you did tell me that you
I
saw him
talked
dragging.
to, I think it was the polygraph dude,
Right.
and he said if I was to run somebody over, I would be able to tell because like it lifts.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, that boy was itty bitty. He wasn't
He's
big.
not a big kid, so I know what he's talking about, but that's not necessarily true when it comes to children.
Well, I didn't feel that, so
Okay.
when he asked me, I didn't.
Was there any other means used to harm your child by you or by your boyfriend?
Okay, you gotta explain better than that because
Okay.
I'm not understanding.
Okay, so we're up to the point where you drug him and that's how he died.
Okay.
Okay, that's where we're at. Murder's murder is what I'm trying to get at. So if you tell me the truth and say, hey, no, this is really what happened, this is how he died, is what I'm trying to get at. If there's another reason that he died, then I just want to know the truth of the matter. Because when we recover him, an autopsy is going to show.
And we're gonna recover him. This ain't out yet, but they found him on sonar. They think they found him in
You
sonar.
know what sonar is?
Sonar's like an X-ray for the water.
So they just can't get down in there right now because of the current and the height of the river. It's still in flood.
And there's still branches and stuff flowing along the top. You can't put a diver in there because it may hook them. But they put these little like submarine things, these little remote control submarines in the water. Those can go down, and they have went down low enough to where
So they did see that he was down there.
They're 90% sure, like 91% sure is what they told us today, that they think they found him there at the river. It's not positive, but they've got the general size, they've got the general shape, and they're pretty sure that they found him. They're going to go down and get him here next week, and he's not going anywhere where he is. Because the water is so cold,
They won't let him float.
I ain't been outside, so
it's like he's in a refrigerator. He's gonna be almost, other than being dead, he's gonna be in really
dead,
good
why does
shape.
your body turn, why does your
Okay,
body?
For some odd reason, she begins to ask about the specifics of rigor mortis. which seems odd, as well as her lack of emotion considering the circumstances.
Okay, you see, this is the issue with you, and this is the issue, I'm sorry, were you in the middle or are we good? This is the issue with you. You're right, we're right in the middle of a conversation. Now, you can't hold a thought to carry on a conversation because you're all over the place. And honestly, I think it's because you're full of shit and you don't want to just talk and have a conversation about what the subject matter is. The issue is he's asking you, was he alive when you went to the park?
Or was he already dead?
Or was he already dead?
Because the court is going to give me a cause of death. Okay, and if you're bullshit, it doesn't matter. Murder is murder, huh? It doesn't matter if you shot him, which I'm not saying you did.
Okay,
I'm giving you an example. I'm giving you an example. It doesn't matter if you shot him, stabbed him, or threw him in a moving bus, in front of a moving bus. Death is death. You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay? So I just need the truth on how he really died. Because I don't believe you're telling me the whole truth about how he really died.
And we're going to figure out next week. Just no bullshit, straight up answer.
And again, I told you, you're only fucking yourself here by not being totally honest about how he died. Okay? I told you that. I don't know if you're just trying to protect Knucklehead back here or what, but you need to tell me the truth about how he died. And the ball's in your court. I can't make you tell me. But you know how he died. And so does James. Okay? And for some reason, you think it's going to be less something in court or less...
And James ain't going to say a word because it's all on you.
He's pushed every bit of this on you.
He was at home, according to what it's been told. That's why, honey, we're looking you dead in the eye right now. Tell us how little James, your son, died. One sentence is all you have to give us. How did little James, your son, your youngest baby,
He wasn't
die?
responding when he got out of the van.
Where at?
Remember when I told you when we got there, he wasn't.
When you got
So he was already dead before you got there? Yes or no?
Yeah, he had to be because he wasn't.
Okay, then how did he die?
Whatever James did to him upstairs.
Okay, you need to tell me that. What did James do?
He choked him out with rope, the same rope. Every last one of them.
The kid, all three
kids. You can ask all three of them.
Because I know he hog-tied them.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he was beating them, literally beating them. I
Okay.
could hear thumps on the floor.
Why didn't you call us?
He wouldn't let me have a phone.
Okay, so he's dead before you even take him out of the house. Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't know it.
Who loads him up in the car? So he didn't walk to the car.
The kids, basically helped him to the car.
Helped who?
The other two kids helped James to the car.
Your two other kids carried dead James to the car. Okay, you're fucking lying.
No, am I not making this sense?
No, not at fucking all.
Can you please stop yelling at me?
You're gonna sit here and tell me and tell us that your two other babies carried your dead youngest one to the car.
Oh my God.
Let's back up. Okay? James is upstairs beating the kids.
He hog ties them, wraps.
No, I'm talking about the day James died, or little James died. Okay, tell me about that day. You said he's beating on him that day.
Yes, he was beating on him that day.
Okay, and what did James come down and say afterwards? Did you ever go up and check on them? To see if they were breathing, see if they were okay?
I heard movement upstairs.
Okay.
But he told me if I go up there, he was going to blow my brains out.
Okay, so what did he say happened to James?
He said he didn't know, he didn't give a fuck.
Was James conscious when you went up there?
Somewhat.
What about the other two?
They were up, when I untied them, they were up moving around. James, it took him a minute to even function.
So James did function then?
It took him like 30, 40 minutes to even move.
So he's just laying there up in the bedroom?
Yeah.
And he's already been cut loose?
I didn't cut him loose. I tried my best to untie the knots that he had already tied.
Okay. So how did James finally, did he ever get loose?
Yeah, I untied him.
Okay, you untied James.
Yeah, I untied all of them, but James was laying there for about 30, 40 minutes before he even...
Moved at all?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how's James acting?
He was like staggering, running and stuff.
Is this the same night you went up to the park?
Yes. Literally, like, before we went to that park is when he did what he did.
So then you really didn't drag James?
No, that's what I keep trying to tell y'all. I didn't do anything to that little boy.
That little boy being her 6-year-old son.
You did, yeah, you did. You didn't help him, number one. Okay? You're a grown-ass adult. That's a little baby. Okay? It's your job as a parent to protect your babies. Fuck James. Fuck Big James.
And you do have them go say he was...
Yeah, I got them all.
All three.
Yes, all three of them.
Only
When did you
one
put those
hand,
in the garage?
the same time with the other shit. And he's had them too, the little ones, in his safe, and every time.
So when we talk, the kids are getting that forensic interview tomorrow. You know what I told you about?
Yeah.
How many times, what are they going to say about you hitting on them?
You know, I'm not really in on them at all. I make them stand in the
What are they going to say about you hitting on them that night with James upstairs?
They're probably just going to say I whipped their butt. That's about it. Like you said, you do your children.
Right.
But I don't punch them, leave bruises, nothing. That's all James.
So what did James tell you? Tell me the conversation. So James comes back downstairs after beating them, right? You go back
He
up
has went up there like 3 or 4 times.
during the day? I mean, during the time span?
Yes.
Like what time span? 8 hours?
Um,
What time were they tied up that day?
It was almost their bedtime, so it was like 6 in the 6 at night, basically.
Okay, so that's about the time he tied him up.
Yes.
Okay, so they're all three upstairs.
And they stayed tied up.
Where were they tied up at?
If you go upstairs to the upstairs, you go this way, you see the little girl's clothes? It's that closet in her room.
Okay. So all three of the kids are in that closet?
Yes.
Hog-tied?
Yes, with dirty, trifling underwear.
Okay.
And that was all him, not
put the
me.
underwear where?
In their mouth.
In their mouths. Okay. And how long were they tied up for? What period of time?
It was literally like 10 minutes before 9 o'clock.
So about 3 hours?
Yeah, their hands were purple.
Okay. So they're tied up for 3 hours. Okay. And during that time period, that 3 hours, James is doing what?
Which James?
Big James, your boyfriend.
He kept going back up there, back downstairs, and beating the shit out of him.
Okay. Who got the worst of it?
I couldn't tell you. You had to ask him.
Okay. So he's up and down the steps, beating them.
Several times.
And as he comes back downstairs every time, what does he say?
I asked him, what did he do? He said, don't fucking worry about it. I know what the fuck I'm doing.
Okay. And then what?
And then I told him, well, I'm about to go up there and untie him because the kids don't deserve this. And he said, well, if you do, I'm going to shoot your ass.
Okay.
And every time he goes in there and gets a gun.
So at what time did you go upstairs to untie him?
When it was almost bedtime.
So
10 minutes, the 10 minutes that they had left. Well, the 10 minutes before 9 o'clock.
Okay, so 10 till 9, you went upstairs and untied him.
Yes.
What made him okay with you going upstairs at that point?
Because I told him I was gonna go on time, I didn't care what he wanted.
No, you didn't, but why didn't he care that you went up there? Did
Because
you tell him you were going to bed?
he told me he was going to bed to go untie them.
Okay, so he told you.
Yeah,
So you didn't do any of this bullshit, I don't care about what you say, I'm going up there. Don't lie about nothing, okay? So he told you to go on time, correct?
he said if I wanted to go on time, then go on time.
Okay, so you went upstairs and untied them?
Yes,
And just with your hands, not with a
Yes,
knife?
nope.
Okay, just with your hands?
yes,
Okay, so once you untied them, you said the other two had gotten up fairly quick,
yes.
but,
And they kept complaining their hands were purple, and their hands were numb, they couldn't feel nothing.
okay. And and James was not responsive?
No.
Okay. So, you said it took how long before it become more alert?
30, 40 minutes.
30, 40 minutes. And now, is he talking at this time, 30, 40 minutes later?
Barely. He was talking, but you couldn't really understand what he's saying.
Okay. So, you can't understand what he's saying. And is he walking?
It's slowly.
Slowly?
Slowly.
Did he have any visible injuries on his body?
He had on. I didn't check.
Okay. On his face?
He had bruises all.
Over his face?
Yes.
Okay.
And it looked like he had like a knot, like right in here, on both
Okay.
sides of his face.
Okay. So,
Like his face has been swollen from being punched.
okay.
How many every time?
On both sides of his face or just one side?
On both sides.
On both sides of his face. And so after 40 minutes, he's kind of talking and he's kind of walking. Is he literally walking or is he
He was
crawling?
kind of walking. He asked one of the kids to help him kind of down the stairs so he wouldn't fall.
Right.
Because that one handle is kind of wobbly going up and down the stairs.
Okay, so he gets downstairs. Which kid helps him do that?
I believe it was.
So helps him down the steps. Where is your other boy?
Right behind him,
Okay. And you are where?
following right behind all of them.
Okay, so that's what I meant.
Yes,
The two go down first, then the other
Yes.
boy, then you.
yes.
Okay, you get downstairs and what happens?
They
What do they do?
basically was going to go to bed like I told you guys.
Okay,
And
so they
that's
come
when
down.
James insisted on they have to get out
So James is in the bedroom or outside, or in the living room?
in the living room. That's where we all were.
So he comes out of the living room, or out of the bedroom, because you said he went to bed.
He was going to bed
Okay.
until I went upstairs to untie the
So when
children.
they come down, he's in the living room.
Yeah,
Where's he at?
sitting on the couch.
He's sitting on the couch. So he's sitting on the couch, and what's he say? What do you say? What does he say? What do the kids
He
do?
told me that he didn't want to see a hair of them kids.
Okay,
If he was to see them, he was going to beat them some more.
okay. So,
And he said he didn't care what happened to him. He didn't give a fuck.
okay. So at this point, what do?
I made the kids go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted them to come downstairs to go to bed.
Right.
But that's when James had said, if I see a hair of them fucking kids, I'm going to beat the shit out of the more of them, beat more shit out of them than they already was.
Right.
So I had told them they were upstairs changing because he wouldn't let them he wouldn't let me untie them to go use the toilet.
So they had pissed themselves?
Yes.
Did they shit themselves too, or just
No,
piss?
they pissed themselves.
Okay, so they had pissed themselves, and so they went back upstairs?
They changed in their room. They didn't bother to come downstairs because they were so scared of Joel's being right there.
Okay, you just said all three of them came downstairs.
Yeah, that was after they had changed their clothes.
Okay, so they had already, while you were up there with them,
Yes.
they changed clothes?
Yes.
I got you. So,
Two had came downstairs, which was James had not made it downstairs when he told me to make them stay upstairs.
okay, so they changed their clothes. And then all four of you come down steps. Is that right? Am I thinking
Three
right?
of us came down. And then went up there to try to help James downstairs. And that's when Jaw said,
Who's Jaws?
that's his nickname.
Okay.
He told me to make them stay upstairs. So they literally like got halfway down upstairs, and I had to go tell them to go back upstairs.
So they never went downstairs at all?
The two did.
The two did.
Got downstairs.
Okay.
And then he told me to make them go back upstairs.
Okay.
So if whoever was downstairs, to make them go upstairs, and to let the other one know if they come downstairs, he was going to beat the shit out of them again.
So they turn around and go back up the steps?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, what do? You put them to bed or what?
I told him to go to bed upstairs.
So they went on to bed?
Yes, because he wouldn't let them come downstairs where they had been sleeping at because of the new environment.
Okay, so they're in the bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Where are both boys? In the same bedroom?
The front bedroom.
The one straight ahead?
Yes.
Okay, so both boys are in that, and you're...
Off to the side right
Off
there.
to the side. Okay, so that night, so you come back downstairs
Yes.
after the kids are in bed?
Yes.
Okay. You're downstairs with James, and what's the conversation?
He told me,
Specifically, what the conversation was. No bullshit.
I'm not bullshitting. He told me to make sure them kids stay the fuck upstairs, and I need to get off my lazy ass and do something with these fucking children.
Okay. What else?
And I told him I didn't want to do anything with them children. I just want to go to bed
Right. And what
because
else?
it was so late.
And what else?
And he just kept nagging on about getting the kids. So I yelled for the kids to come downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a good minute. They were standing back in the corner because he wouldn't let them sit down.
What does that mean? Tell me about that. Once they come downstairs?
Yeah, he wouldn't let them sit down ever.
Okay. How did James get downstairs?
I helped them downstairs.
Up and downstairs
Yes.
at that time?
Yes.
Okay. So now all three children are downstairs,
Yes.
and what happens after you called them down?
Told him, come downstairs. He wanted me to get rid of you guys. What I should have done was make him do it.
Not what you should have done. So he says that. Tell the kids he wants me to get rid of you guys.
Yeah, exactly what I told him.
And then what?
It took me like 10 minutes to make sure they were all downstairs from getting changed and whatever they had to do upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So once they all got downstairs, I took them out to the van.
Mm-hmm.
I made sure they buckled up.
What did
and all that.
What did James say to all this? He's telling you something specific, I would assume. What's the conversation between you and James? How does he want you to get rid of him?
He just told me to take them to the rush run. He just said rush run.
And do what?
He just told me to take them there and drop them off.
Okay.
So I took them there and dropped them off. And no tendency of hurting them, nothing.
I'm tired. So you're up at Rush Run at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. James tells you to what? Use his van or no? Does he want you
He
to
told
use?
me to use whatever.
He didn't care what you used.
Nope.
All right. He didn't give you any specific guidelines on how to get rid of the kids. He didn't tell you any directions at all how to get rid of the kids.
He just told me the best place was Rush Run.
Okay. He didn't give you any how I'm supposed to get rid of the
No.
kids. Okay. So now you're up at Rush Run. Okay, just you and the three children.
Mm-hmm.
Now what happens?
I told the kids to get out.
Okay.
And then that's when James didn't want to get out, or he didn't even answer me.
So the two kids get out.
Yes.
Okay.
James would not answer me for nothing.
Okay.
And I was back there kind of like shaking his arm, trying to get him to talk to me. And he wouldn't say anything.
Okay.
Well, I had picked him up and set him outside of the door
Mm-hmm.
before I even took off anything. I had told him to go to the bathroom and to take James with him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, James was leaning up, pulling on the door, And then he just sat there. And was trying to get him up to get him to the bathroom.
Trying to get him up, what do you mean?
He was sitting on the ground.
How was he reaching the door handle sitting on the
his
ground?
knees. He can reach the door handle on his knees.
Okay, so he's holding on the door handle, and you're back in the van. Is that right?
I was back in the van, yes.
That's
I was
what I
just
meant.
sitting there.
You're just sitting there. At what point do you drive off?
Like 5 minutes later.
Okay, and he's still holding on to the side of the van?
No. That's why I was trying to tell you before, and you was like, something else had to happen. Something else had to happen.
Something else did happen, right? Now you're telling me something else happened.
Yeah, he didn't have the handle. He had to hold the door handle for a couple minutes and had let go, and just gave up basically and sat there.
So, about 5 minutes later, you drive off.
Yes.
Okay. And you said you're gone for how long?
I didn't drive off all the way. I heard the children screaming, remember?
Yeah.
I heard the 2 kids screaming, and I didn't get that far because I heard them screaming because I stopped and was just looking around. And then after they stopped screaming for a minute, I went on.
Okay. I'm about to lose my temper, and I'm trying not to. I'm going to take a break.
Do you want to talk to me or no?
The slamming of the door seemed to be a psychological intimidation tactic that seems to have worked. Watch her attitude change as only one detective remains.
You probably don't, because you're not going to tell me the truth. You've sat back there in that jail, and you've tried to come up with some excuse for the, hold on, let me move over here, I'm too close to you. Because you've sat back there in that, just listen, okay? You've sat back there in that jail, and you've tried to come up with some reason to justify you not getting charged with murder. Here's where we are, okay? There's no doubt in my mind you took those kids out there to leave them for them to either freeze to death, for them to fall in the water and drown, or for coyotes or some other wild animal to eat those children. There is no look in my eyes, there is no doubt in my mind that you took those children to Rush Run Lake to die. There is no doubt in my mind you took all 3 of your kids there to die. Now, maybe you weren't going to do anything to them. Maybe you didn't have plans to take them out there and shoot them, stab them, cut them, drown them. Maybe you didn't have any plans at all to do that. I have no reason to think for sure that you did.
Yeah, I didn't have no reason to do anything.
But you had every intention of taking those children out there to die.
Well, I didn't know they were going to die, but I took them out there.
You took them out there hoping no one would ever see them, find them, or you would never see them or hear from them again. Is that a safe assumption?
Yes.
So when you went out there with your 3 kids, they were well enough to walk on their own, all 3 of them. They were all 3 well enough to talk on their own. They all knew where they were, and they were scared to death. Am I correct?
Yes.
James had I'm asking you, had James instructed you to take them out there and leave them?
You're talking about Big James?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not gonna call him Jaws because that's stupid. I'm gonna call him Big James.
Okay.
Big James.
I prefer you do it that way, so I'm not getting
There you,
confused.
and that's good, because I've gotten confused actually going through my notes. Big James and you decided that they were interrupting your all's relationship. And
You said they wasn't listening, so I need to get rid of them because I wasn't disciplining them.
okay, they were causing a problem between you and Big James.
Yes.
I'm gonna say, the decision was made, I'm not gonna point fingers. The decision was made that they need to exit your all's life relationship.
Yes, and that was him.
Okay. You then load them up in Big James's van.
Yes.
You and the children.
Yes.
Go out to restaurant.
Where he had told me to take them.
And you told me that, and I believe that. I really do, because I found that, even though you deleted your browser stuff, I found that in your phone. I've already got search warrants, and I've started going through your phones. I found that. And I can even, if you don't believe me, I'll go get it and name off half a dozen places you looked up directions for, but...
Yeah, because I've told you that I've always used my GPS,
Right.
I know nothing.
Right, because you don't know, you've looked up Walmart,
Yeah,
you've
I
looked
know
up...
nothing.
Right, I'm with you. But I'm saying, what time of night, once again, did you take those kids out there?
Well, he told me...
Just tell me, what time of night do you think you took those kids out at the park? Just guess.
I believe it was Friday morning.
Friday, okay, but what time?
Like 2-something?
So it was late at night, you knew
Yes.
there would be no one there,
Yes.
and you knew they would be all
He told me
alone,
there was going to be nobody around.
okay.
But I had asked him, what if somebody sees them?
Mhm.
And he told me there was nobody out at that time.
So when the kids exited the vehicle,
Uh-huh.
and you pull out of the parking lot, when you left your house in Middletown,
Mm-hmm.
and you were driving, you had intentions that was going to be the last car ride you ever took with your children.
Yes, because I was dropping them off there.
Okay. You knew that when you left your house there on Crawford Street. So you drive out there, you drop them off, and I'll say this, somehow James gets killed. Little James gets killed. You pull out, and again, when you pull out of the lot, you don't have any intentions of ever seeing those kids again.
No, and I didn't have any intentions on doing anything to them.
Okay, okay, that's fair. You leave the lot, and how long were you gone until you turned around and went back?
The text message that I had sent him.
Mm-hmm. The last one that I saw was on OMW.
On my way back.
Okay.
That's basically what that means.
Yeah, on my way back now.
Yes.
Where were you at when you sent that?
I was a little ways down the road.
You went up the driveway from the park.
Yes, and turned left.
Turn left.
Because I had followed my GPS to
Sure,
go back home.
Sure.
And I had stopped quarter ways down the road,
Mm-hmm.
and I had turned back around because he told me the kids are just going to be running around, they're going to get hurt.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop you. The first time, and several times, and even in the polygraph, you said that you texted James and told him you were dead, or you texted Big James and said he's dead.
He might have been dead.
He might have been dead.
Yes.
So where were you at whenever you texted dead?
On my way home.
'cause you texted on my way, be right on my way home. You texted that, right?
Yes, I had text that.
And so then you were thinking James was dead, but you were little James, but you were going to go on home.
I was thinking it because of the kids were screaming. I didn't know for sure.
Mm-hmm. But then, after you told Big James you were on your way home, then you texted him and said, little James is dead.
Yes, that's when I had went back to get them and told him I was on my way home with them. Because he told me not to leave.
Well, but in the polygraph, you said the only reason you went back was because Big James told you to.
Yeah, because he said they'd be running around.
Okay. You see, this is where we are. Do you not hear yourself when you're talking? Or is just, you're so full of shit, you can't remember what lie you told? Would this be easier if I got a pen and paper and let you write down what you're telling me so you can remember the lies you're telling? You see, you're still only worried about one person, I guess that's two, one person on the planet. And you know who that is? That's you. You're going to sit there and you're going to lie, you're going to continue to lie, and you're going to continue to lie, because the only thing in the world that you're worried about, you're not worried about 9-year-old that is so freaking skinny, that is got severely malnourished. You don't give a shit about her. You don't give a shit about who is just a little itty bitty thing himself. And you don't even give a shit about little dead James. The only thing you're worried about in the world is trying to come up with a good story that's going to keep your lying ass out of prison. That's all you're worried about. When you first sat down at a table with Hoover, he told you, the only thing you've got in this world is the truth. Do you remember him telling you that? And all this other shit, all this story, oh, it's James's fault. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's this. I didn't mean that. Honey, I've caught you in like 5 lies in about 2 minutes because you cannot remember what bullshit story or sentence you said 30 seconds ago. Am I wrong?
No, I have a memory problem. I've been trying to tell you guys
you're
that.
full of shit. We've already talked to
Can
your
I
doctor.
have a paper so I can maybe...
You want to write down your lies? You want to write down a good journal? You're full of shit. You killed your kid, and you don't give a rat's ass.
Yes, I do.